Did you know that we're having a love experiment? I want to encourage you to get into the love experiment. It's UPCHURCH's 2021 Lenten program, and we do Lent like no other. We take each and every day of Lent and we have a spiritual study together, and we get some tools to work on throughout the day, and we want you to enroll. It's not too late. The train may be moving already, but there's a seat for you on it, and we want you to jump on board. So I want to encourage you to go and register at upchurch.org. Just look for Lent registration and go ahead and make the commitment. You won't regret it. We'll get you right caught up so that you can be running right along with us as we explore and experiment with the idea of love. More love, more love, more love in every single aspect of our lives. You want to be a part of this. Go to upchurch.org and register today. You won't regret it. God bless.
Yeah, and the wind is talking. Yeah, for the very first time. Will the melodies that pulls you towards it, painting pictures of paradise, saying, rise up to the light in the sky, yeah. Watch the light lift your heart up, burn your flames through the night. Whoa, spirit, watch the heavens open, yeah. Spirit, can you hear it calling, yeah. And the water's crashing, trying to keep your head up high. When you're trembling, that's when the magic happens, and the stars gather by your side, saying, rise up to the light in the sky, yeah. Watch the light lift your heart up, burn your flame through the night. Oh, spirit, watch the heavens open, yeah. Spirit, can you hear it calling, yeah. Your destiny is coming close. Stand up and fight. So go into that promised land and be one with the great I am. I am a boy becomes a man. Whoa, spirit, watch the heavens open, yeah. Spirit, can you hear it calling, yeah. Spirit, watch the heavens open, yeah. Spirit,
That is one of the most amazing videos I think that our worship team has created. Stand up and fight. Your destiny is calling. Go into your promised land and be one with the great I am. That is the call on each one of us, to go into your promised land. Go into that state of consciousness where everything is operating and existing just as you imagine it, and be one with the great I am. Fantastic. Welcome. I'm Reverend Sherri James. I welcome you through our virtual doors. I'm so excited that you are here with us today. We've got a magnificent service planned for you. Couple of housekeeping things. If this is your first time here, or if you haven't done this yet, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Listen, we want you to be a part of our family, and that's one of the ways that you can do it. Subscribe to this channel, stay abreast of the things that we are doing. Make sure you like this video so you set off all those wonderful YouTube algorithms, and then it don't cost you anything. Leave us a comment. Those comments say to YouTube, hey, people are interacting with this video. If you are watching this on Facebook, same thing applies. Make sure you like our page, that you follow us, and you set yourself up to receive notifications every time we share content. And leave us a comment. Same thing. Same rules apply. And finally, please share this service. I bet there is one person that you know that needs to be encouraged, that needs to be reminded that they are divine, that needs to be reminded that they are one with all the good there is. And so I just want to encourage you to go ahead and hit that share button, pass this service along, and let them know you are one with all the good there is. All right, let's take a moment to pray and open this service. Would you settle yourself and bring your attention to this present moment? Father, Mother, God, we are here to express you. We are here to prove that not only are you good, but that through us more good can come into expression. That we are not here to keep the status quo. We are here to shake up the planet with good and more good. We are taking this message of radical oneness, of divine love, of inclusivity, and we are spreading it around the world. That each person on the planet is divine. That each person on the planet has a special call on their lives. And it is their great awakening to all that makes them special and all that makes them unique, that connects us one to another. And so I thank you that something in this service positively contributes to the awakening of humanity. Our planet is in a healing process, and may we contribute to that healing process with this worship. May the music that is sung, may the words that are spoken, may the different things that happen in this service contribute to the forward movement of humankind. May we each rise up and live out the call on our experience. For those that may be hurting, I pray a special prayer. May you find the comfort that is rightfully yours. It is right and good that you have everything that you need, in whatever form that is: money, health, happiness, joy, relationships, whatever that is. My prayer is that you have it, and that more abundantly. I thank you, God. I thank you, God. I thank you, God. I know you hear me when I pray. And so I relax. I trust this prayer to become flesh. And so it is. Amen. We are the living legacy of the Reverend Dr. Delary Slett. We are the people that she shared her spiritual understanding with in her lifetime. And it is such a gift that we get to continue in that tradition, that we get to continue acknowledging our oneness with Spirit and our oneness with each other, that we get to continue recognizing that I am divine and you are divine and we are divine. We have a vision. Our vision is to love every person up to their true identity and to their highest potential for the greater good of all. And we are on a mission to express God's divine love through teaching spiritual principles, worship services, fellowship activities, and community outreach. And our theme this year is Open Your Mind. Open your mind. Now, we have a service for you today. February is the month that we celebrate Black history, and every year we have a really special program. And just because we're in a pandemic, just because we're virtual, doesn't mean that we're not going to have a program today. So I'm going to pass it to my assistant minister, Reverend Sheree Thompson, for a couple of the housekeeping things and just to welcome you in, and then we're going to get into the program.
Good afternoon, UPCHURCH. I'm Reverend Sheree Thompson, and it is my joy to be with you today. I'm so grateful to be able to worship with you heart to heart. Now, this is the opportunity that I get uniquely in this service to say welcome specifically to those of you who are clicking in here for the first time, who have walked through our virtual doors for the very first time, or maybe you've been a visitor here and there. I want to say welcome, a special welcome to you. On behalf of all of the UPCHURCH community, we say welcome, welcome, welcome. I want you to know that whatever reason got you here, if you came to be to witness our Black History Month celebration, or maybe a friend told you to come, or maybe you just got a little suggestion from YouTube to tap into this service, I want you to know that you're in the right place at the right time with the right people. We are committed to loving you up, and I trust that you're going to experience that love as you sit through our entire experience. So this is one of the ways that we are able to connect with you by one, just looking you eye to eye and saying welcome. But I want you to know who you're worshiping with. And so we affirm together our spiritual names. It's something that we do when we're in person. We give each other hugs of love and we say an affirmation to one another. But here in the virtual world, we can still have fellowship. And so I want to encourage you to play along with this, to have some fun with us. And we're going to just speak our spiritual name. And you do that by typing into the chat, I am plus a quality of God. I am plus a quality of God. Tell me your spiritual name. I am Sheree and I am love. What's your spiritual name? Go ahead and write that in the chat. If you're not watching with us live time, go ahead and write it in the comments. We want to be able to see you for who you really are. We want to know your spiritual name. And if you're not chatting, you're not commenting, go ahead and speak that name out loud. Speak your spiritual name out loud. Don't let another moment go by without you affirming the truth about yourself. We're so grateful to worship with you here today. We believe in the power of the affirmative word. And so this part of our service now is our affirmation of power. This is where we speak the word of truth to ourselves for ourselves. And so I have an affirmation. I'm going to say it first, and then we will affirm it together. You'll see it pop up on the screen. So for those of you who've been with us throughout the month, you know that we've been working with the same affirmation. Well, today I'm going to add a line in it in honor of Black History Month. So work with me. I am one with God. I am one with all people. I am one with all life. I am one with UPCHURCH. I am one with the one because there is only one. Let's affirm together. I am one with God. I am one with all people. I am one with all life. I am one with UPCHURCH. I am one with the one because there is only one. And so it is. And so we shall let it be. Thank you again for being with us, for speaking the word of power with us. I'm going to move us forward. We're going to have another amazing part of our service. Know that our Black History Month celebration is coming right up. You don't want to miss it. Make sure you're ready to be completely tuned in and engaged. You will be uplifted.
I am so honored to introduce to you this next segment of our special service today. You know, I grew up in Houston, Texas, and I had the privilege of attending schools where I was in the majority. And that was such a rich and wonderful experience. And I took for granted all those years of learning Black history, not just during the month of February, but really all year long. It was just infused into the culture, and it was infused into the education system. And I'm so grateful for that foundation. Today's celebration is a look back, a look ahead, and a look within. And I just want to give a very special thank you to Patty Henley, one of our worship team members and one of the builders of this ministry. And I want to say thank you. Her creativity, it just surpasses understanding. And I'm so excited that you are going to get to experience this. And I want to encourage you to really fall in love with what we call Black history, or the history of people of African descent. It is rich, it is varied, it is a story of resilience, it is a story of possibility, it is a story of hope. And I am so excited for you to experience this. And so on this final day of Black History Month 2021, I present to you our love letter to Black culture, to African American culture. I use these words interchangeably, but I present to you this love letter, this letter of appreciation for all that it means to be Black. God bless you.
Didn't it rain, children? Didn't it rain, oh my Lord?
Didn't it rain?
Oh my Lord, didn't it rain? Didn't it rain, children? Didn't it rain, oh my Lord? Didn't it, oh my Lord, didn't it rain?
Well, it rained 40 days and it rained 40 nights. There was no land nowhere inside. God sent rain to spread the news. He hoisted his wings and away he flew.
Well, it rained 40 days, 40 nights without stopping. Noah was glad when the rain stopped dropping.
All day, all night, all day, all night. Oh, my Lord, didn't it rain? Didn't it rain, children? Didn't it rain, oh, my Lord? Didn't it, oh, my Lord, didn't it rain? Well, a knock on the window and a knock on the door. They cried, Noah, please take one more. Noah cried, no, you're full of sin. My God's got the key and he can't get in.
When I get to heaven, gonna put on my shoes, gonna walk around heaven and spread the news.
All day, all night, all day, all night. Oh, my Lord, didn't it rain? Didn't it rain, children? Didn't it rain, oh, my Lord? Didn't it, oh, my Lord, didn't it rain? Listen to the rain, listen to the rain, listen to the rain, listen to the rain. Oh, my Lord, didn't it rain? Didn't it rain, children? Didn't it rain, oh, my Lord?
Waiting in the water.
Talk about rain. We have experienced a downpour. The year 2020 has been one that will stand out shouting and screaming from the history books. We have collectively experienced trauma, isolation, media bombardment, sickness, and loss. And as we celebrate Black history, one might ask, what is there to celebrate? A tradition that was started by Carter G. Woodson, born in 1875 to slave parents. He was an American historian, author, and journalist. Dr. Woodson was founder of the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, and a founder of the Journal of Negro History. In 1926, Woodson launched Negro History Week. He had issues with derogatory images that were being portrayed in the media of that day. Dr. Woodson created the Negro History Bulletin developed for teachers in elementary and high school grades. These were to be used during Negro History Week and beyond, all for the purposes of us writing our own story and providing enlightenment and inspiration, information for the Black race, highlighting the accomplishments and advancements of Black people and their businesses from that previous year. Not until 1976, 50 years later, President Gerald Ford made Black History Month an official national observance. Woodson was one of the first African Americans to receive a PhD from Harvard. He was professor and dean of the School of Liberal Arts at Howard University, whose headquarters is currently on Howard University's campus. He's been quoted as saying that those that have no record of what their forebears have accomplished lose the inspiration which comes from the teaching of biography and history. And these same sentiments are echoed by today's chair of Black Studies at Howard University, Dr. Greg Carr, who said we must maintain our memory links, that which connects us to one another. We are memory keepers, and we must pay it forward.
This is from 1927, the year after he started it. He says there should be no indulgence in undue eulogy of the Negro. Don't feel sorry for us. We don't need your pity. He says the case of the Negro is well taken care of when it is shown how he has influenced the development of civilization. So don't do anything special, just tell the facts.
So even though we've experienced a great deal of hardship over the past year, there is still the need for us to remember, for us to tell our own stories and to celebrate and honor those people who have sacrificed, innovated, persevered, thrived.
Whether or not the purpose of Black history as established in 1926 by Carter G. Woodson is being realized today is up for debate, in my opinion. It seems like we want to pick and choose the history that we want to acknowledge and recognize. In my mind, it looks like the so-called Black man has denigrated the legacy of the Negro while plagiarizing his resume. We say that the Negro was shiftless and didn't amount to much and didn't accomplish a whole lot. So subsequently, Negro scientists, Negro accomplishments, Negro inventors are now Black scientists, Black inventors. The Negro colleges are now Black colleges and universities. The Negro national anthem is now the Black national anthem, but the Negro didn't do anything, and we don't want to teach our children about the Negro. We are the sum total of all of our history.
You are a part of me. You are my family. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. We are sitting in the largest civil rights movement in the history of the planet called Earth.
As I watched your beautiful faces marching down the street, shouting, no justice, no peace, no justice, no peace. Say his name, George Floyd. Say his name, George Floyd. And then you began to move into this arena, and I just felt this wave of love flowing over me, and I could not help but to break down in tears, because never have I ever seen such humanity standing up all over the world. What is happening right now is happening in Germany, it is happening in
Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There is so much hatred, war and poverty. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Wake up, all teachers, time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say. 'Cause they're the ones who's coming up, and the world is in their hands. When you teach the children, teach them the very best you can. Oh yeah, the world won't get no better
If we just let it be.
The world won't get no better. We gotta change it, yeah, just you and me.
Wake up, all the doctors, make the old people
Make
well.
all people
They're the
well.
ones who suffer and who catch all the hair. They don't have so very long before their judgment day. So won't you make them happy before they pass away? Oh,
Wake
yeah.
up all the builders, time to build a new land. I know we can do it if we all lend a hand. The only thing we have to do is put it in our mind. Surely things will work out, 'cause they do every time.
The world won't get no better if we just let it be. Oh, the world won't get no better. We gotta change it, yeah, just you and me. Oh, it's the God hour, morning I wake up just for the breath of life. I thank my maker. Mama say I come from hustlers and shakers. Mom building on skyscrapers, acres. Say it take us back to where we belong. Try to write a song as sweet as a song. Though I'm the type to bear arms and with my heart on my sleeve. Even when I fell in God, I believe. The days and weave through the maze and seasons so amazing. Feed them and raise them. Seasons are age and earthquakes, wars and rumors. I want us to get by, but we more than consumers. We more than shooters, more than looters. Created in His image, so God left the world. Even in this generation, living through computers, only love, love, love can remove that. Oh, wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. Oh, wake up, everybody, yeah, yeah. Wake up, everybody.
Come on, come
No,
on, come on,
wake up, everybody.
Yeah.
Wake up, everybody.
Wake up, everybody. Wake up, everybody. Wake up, everybody. Wake up, everybody. Wake up, everybody.
In 1960, James Farmer, the director of the Congress on Racial Equality, aimed to desegregate public transportation throughout the South. They sought to test the decision by the Supreme Court that said segregation of interstate transportation facilities, including bus terminals, was unconstitutional. These were known as the Freedom Rides. The local police and law enforcement ignored the laws and continued to act as if it didn't matter. Farmer gained support from Martin Luther King and Ralph Abernathy.
Never in the history of this nation have so many people been arrested for the cause of freedom and human dignity.
Former Senator John Lewis, one of many Freedom Riders, were met with major hostilities. They were attacked, beaten, firebombed, and arrested. The National Guard was deployed to protect them. Finally, the Attorney General Robert Kennedy intervened and put pressure on the Interstate Commerce Commission to issue a new and stronger ruling banning segregated facilities. This movement stretched across the nation, and over 500 Freedom Riders began to assemble in different parts of the United States to join with Farmer and CORE. Here today with us is living history, Freedom Rider, four-term Los Angeles Councilman Robert Farrell.
Becoming a Freedom Rider was relatively easy for me. I and my colleagues had been involved in civil rights demonstrations and activities here in Los Angeles. We were students at the University of California, Los Angeles, joined with students from other community colleges and just people who weren't even in higher education in protesting against the discrimination that was here on the streets of Los Angeles. Whether it had to do with where we lived, whether it had to do with opportunities for work, whether it had to do with opportunities for just getting service. We were not allowed to go into places like barbershops or, for women, beauty shops to get our personal needs handled. In many places in the community of Westwood at the time, that's where UCLA is located, we weren't even welcomed in the restaurants. It was that kind of a situation that was what we did to protest racism in our community. And when our colleagues in Tennessee took that stand to make sure that the Freedom Rides continued, many of us around the country responded as they did. We tied in with the Congress of Racial Equality, and we participated in the Freedom Rides.
John Lewis was an American politician, but most importantly, a civil rights activist and leader. He spent over 33 years in Congress as an elected official. He championed many great causes like gun violence, but he was most passionate about the Voting Rights Act, which ensured all Americans the right to vote. Congressman Lewis helped create a series of award-winning graphic novels about his work in the civil rights movement. His most famous saying was, "Get in trouble, good trouble, necessary trouble." John Lewis became ill, and sadly, he passed away on July 17, 2020.
As a young woman coming of age in the late 60s and the 70s, I would like to think that the work that we did meant something. And I know that it did because we are benefiting from its effects today. We elected the very first African American mayors and representatives to Congress. And we did this together through the power of our vote, just as we did today through the power of our vote. When we come together as one with a purpose in mind, there isn't anything that we can't do. And this is what we have to continue to do going forward. No matter if we have differences of opinions on certain ways to do things, the point is to get them done. And I'm proud of the progress that we've made so far. I know we've got a lot more work to do.
The civil rights movement of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, I feel those were very impactful. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the actions of African Americans during those times. In comparison to today is just a new fight. You know, you got your Black Lives Matter. It's like the same fight. You know, when George Floyd was killed, I think that triggered a new revolution. Like even today, 2021, we still have unarmed Black men getting killed. So obviously our lives don't matter as much. The movement is still needed. So I think, you know, just like in the 50s and 60s, the Black Lives Matter, I think it's just as important, and it's going to keep progressing until we start getting the respect that we deserve.
The struggles of the civil rights movement of the 60s and 70s compared to Black Lives Movement of the 2000 or the new millennium, there is no difference. And there's no difference than the struggles of the 40s, 50s, or the struggles of the 1800s. That's the benefit of studying history. We get a chance to see that nothing has changed. Our concerns are still the same. Our anger is still the same. We just haven't gotten sick and tired of being sick and tired.
The 50s, 60s, and 70s were valuable movements. The sit-ins, the sit-outs, the marches, but they had major consequence. They stole so many of our Black leaders, our voices, on purpose. Of course, on purpose to shut us down.
Learning about Dr. King and the struggle that he had to go through to make change, that really made an impression on me. And all the icons of that era that struggled for change.
I believe that the work that they did was not in vain. As an adult right now with a family, something to lose, I'm just humbled by the courage, standing up for what was right.
Well, we did what we could with what we had. And I'd like to just suggest that, you know, that's a debatable issue. But what was not debatable was that men and women, young and old, Black and white and others, were willing to put their lives and their reputations on the line to stand for a principle, the right to be able to freely move in these United States because the law said so.
If you think about it in a way, we've been living the fruit of that change, that shift in the world. We've been living it out. And I think it's just now time to take it to another level. I think that all of that was about raising the idea of oneness in the minds and hearts of everybody. And I feel like now we realize we still have work to do because we can see the fruit of that idea of divisiveness, that idea of you and them. And I think that we can see it now so that we can heal it now.
You know we've been waiting, waiting and waiting. We've been waiting, waiting and waiting. We've been waiting, waiting and waiting for change to come. But change never comes. We're tired of waiting and waiting and waiting. Tired of waiting and waiting and waiting. Tired of waiting and waiting and waiting for change to come. And we ain't gonna wait no more. The time is now, now, now. The time is now, now, now. The time is now, now is the time for change to come. Change to come. moment. Don't you know we've been waiting and waiting and waiting. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting. We've been waiting for change to come, but change never comes. It never comes.
Now we're tired of waiting. Oh, so tired of waiting. Oh, tired of waiting for a change to come. And we ain't gonna wait no more.
'Cause the time is right now. Right now, right now. The time is now. Now. The time is now. Now is the time for change to come. Change must come.
The time is right now. At this very second, at this very moment now. Now is the time for change. It must come.
Centuries of suffering. Mothers and daddies and babies and human bodies. Too many lifetimes of trauma. Had enough. Oh, broken spirits. Broken promises. Broken families.
Right now.
I went to school as a kid in Los Angeles, and I realized about prejudice very early on, growing up, going to school in a very mixed school environment. I had the benefit of growing up where there were a lot of black kids, white kids, Latino kids, Asian kids, and it was completely normal for me. And at the time, I didn't realize what it took to achieve that. But I soon realized that the kids in school would talk about each other in a way that was joking, but still derogatory. And I realized that there were prejudices amongst certain people, and it was naive and in jest, but still it left an impression on me that this is how people behave. This is embedded in our culture.
The very first time I experienced prejudice was when I was 9 years old. My entire life, I have attended predominantly white schools. And at the time, I was going to a private Catholic school. And I was in the 2nd grade. All of my friends were making clubs, and I wanted to join them. And I asked one of them if I could join their club. And they told me that I could not because I was African American. Now, my 9-year-old 2nd grade brain could not understand the fact that all of my white friends were able to join this club, and I wasn't, even though I did nothing wrong.
I really want to say I was in middle school. Through performing arts, I learned a lot about prejudice and history and understanding the meaning of my skin color and how it can affect my life as a whole. But really, I became connected to, the fight to eradicate prejudice when it comes to the Black community. When I was in high school, I faced a lot of prejudice between teachers, assuming I was a certain type of way because of the way I dressed, assuming that I was a certain type of way because of the other Black students I hung around. And that made me more aware of how, not only do young people who don't even understand social dynamics as much as people who are mature can be racist and not even understand that they're being racist. It personally affected my academics, it affected my social life and the way I interacted with adults, my trust for certain people, and it taught me that, at first, it taught me that, age, just because you're older does not mean you're more wise or you have more knowledge. And it also taught me that it's important to educate people of all ages about things that you find important to yourself.
Being aware of prejudice has definitely, probably more than I would want to admit, shaped my dreams. For many, many, many years, I had a desperate desire to be the first Black something. And I wanted to be the first Black something, the first Black woman something, and really the first Black president is what I wanted to be. And what's interesting about that is that this idea of being the first Black something was really indicative of how I learned about U.S. history and Black people in America, is that the people that you would note were the first. The people in the history books were the first. And so there was this and this desire to be better than everybody else that really, really just kind of impacted a lot of the things that I did. Choices I made would be no, because I would choose not to do things because how can you show that you're better than them? You get it? So it really shaped a lot of how I navigated, my childhood and for sure my early adulthood. Honestly, this question probably is the first time I really thought about it that way, how prejudice impacted my dreams.
Being aware of racism has never influenced any life decisions I've had to make, never kept me from any of my dreams. Racism never got in my way because I was never a victim of it.
Well, it hasn't stopped me from dreaming or reaching for my goals in any way, shape, or form. Being aware of the reality of racism or white supremacy in America, it's something that I think is a good thing. I think it keeps you grounded. It makes my views, I think, much more authentic than a person who would say that racism doesn't exist.
I don't like to leave my community. I don't care if it's Whole Foods over there. I want Whole Foods to come to me. I like to recycle my Black dollars. I like to stay in my community. I don't want to put gas in my car to drive across town to go give you my money. That's one way it's affected me.
X. He joined the Nation of Islam, given the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He was shot down in Los Angeles, defending his place of worship. That was Temple 27 in 1963. He and other men of FOI were protecting their property as LAPD wanted to get inside, ostensibly to find out if there were guns there, as men and women were going through a religious celebration in their place, in their mosque on South Broadway. And the police were resisting as they wanted to just come in, and in the ensuing gunfire, police killed my friend, Ronald Stokes. So for me, I'm woke from back there.
George Floyd repeatedly told the officers that he...
Lift every voice and
Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. We sing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Victory is won. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought. They see the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Till victory is won. Da, 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 da. Ooh, yeah.
Well, I think mine were a little bit more basic and more in keeping with the times. Black people pay taxes. Black people serve in the military. Black people are taxpayers. We are part of the warp and woof of American life, with the exception of being able to stand for public office. And I'm just very proud that it was in 1963 that I was involved in activities that led to the election of the first 3 black elected officials in the city of Los Angeles. Gilbert Lindsay was the first. He was appointed. Tom Bradley was the second in the 10th district. And my boss, Billy Mills, an attorney, hired me as one of his deputies, one of his first deputies. And from that base, when Billy Mills, a lawyer, was named to the Superior Court, I ran to succeed him, and I did, and I was council person of the 8th District for the next 4 terms, 17 years.
Well, not much. Biden has been in office for 2 weeks. He has done things for the Asian American community, the Latinx community, and the Indians. But when it comes to us, as American descendants of chattel slavery, whose ancestors built all the wealth that each of these groups eat from, all we get is symbolism. Harriet Tubman on a $20 bill that far too many of us don't even have in our pockets today.
I voted for them, so I'm rooting for them. I truly hope that really at the point where we were at, it was just time for there to be change, and I would have voted for a billy goat, to be quite honest. But Joe Biden and Kamala definitely have the experience. They want to see some change, but we'll see. Politicians have long used the the African American, the Black community to come and get in and to get our votes, but forget about us once they get in that Oval Office. So.
Yeah, I have hopes for this new administration. I think it's time for medium steps, not baby steps, not big combat boot steps. I also feel that this is going to be the first administration where you actually have a president, vice president team, two people that are actually working side by side together. And Kamala, what's not to like?
I believe that people can work together to solve problems if they want to. I'm saddened right now when I have to think of Republicans. And through my life, I've met many men and women who were good people who believed in the Republican Party because of principle. And remember, once upon a time, most of us people of African descent who participated in the political process were Republicans.
Let's talk about slavery. No, white people come back. Should America compensate the descendants of slaves? For a long time, reparations were considered a radical idea. But recently, it's become a lot more mainstream. And you can tell how mainstream the idea of reparations has become.
I've long believed that this country should address the original sin of slavery, including by looking at reparations.
I think that we have got to address that, again, it's back to the inequities.
I absolutely believe that we need to have some kind of accounting for the persistent racial inequities today.
I believe it's time to start the national, full-blown conversation about reparations in this country.
Right first and foremost on the new political agenda. And I hope that this generation of politicians, including our president and our new vice president, will have the capacity to work with the Congress to make that real.
Well, I actually am an advocate for radical reconstruction, which happened in 1865, 1866. It was a period of great success and growth for Black people. We owned our own properties, opened our own businesses, and ran for public office. And we were very successful in a lot of ways. And there was a white backlash. And then they stripped those rights away around 1877. I think we need to go right back to that and complete the job that was not completed back then.
It's something that should be done and needs to be done, but I don't see how it can be done in a way that will make more than a paltry difference to people. As far as money is concerned anyway, reparations need to be made by repairing the system that created the need for reparations.
I want you to understand why reparations are even necessary. If we are to thrive as a people in the country our ancestors built with their lives, there's no other way to do that but for reparations. Because the egregious racial wealth gap is over $100 trillion and counting, which does not even include the war on drugs. It doesn't include the current pandemic that we're dying disproportionately from because we don't have the jobs that can support us with health care. It does not include the cost of living increases. It does not include the cost of Black life. And that $104 trillion is taken from a book called The Black Tax, The Cost of Being Black in America, by Sean D. Rochester. The institution of slavery was the seed for all of the wealth that whites and immigrants benefit from in this country.
Get up out there and be part of the movement. Find some place where you can make a contribution. Give some money to some one of the causes for which you have some sense of commitment and passion. But I just look forward to those who are younger than me to keep the struggle going.
I have successfully helped found and bring up the Black Student Union at my predominantly white high school in Sherman Oaks, California. And I can successfully say that I have created an environment at my school where no African American students will feel inadequate or not safe at my school the way I felt when I was 9 years old. And I am very proud of that.
I work on raising consciousness. I work on reminding people of who they really are, because I believe that if you know who you are and you have the even an inkling to act like it, that true change emerges from that.
Dance has inspired me to write the biography of Matthew Rushing, the Associate Artistic Director of the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater. Matthew is from Inglewood, California. The book will be released in the coming months of 2021.
About 30 years ago, almost 30 years ago, I founded an organization called Family, Fighters for African Mental Liberation International, and it has another name, Foundation for Arts, Mentoring, and Leadership. It's a nonprofit agency. We help a lot of young people and older people, all people, actually. Proud of the organization and the work that we've done over the past 30 years. And that's my vehicle that I utilize to contribute to human progress, to human and social justice and racial justice.
Hello, my name is Arian White. I'm a fourth grade teacher at Baldwin Hills Elementary School. I'm also the founder and director of Camp Sankofa. Baldwin Hills is known for its culturally responsive curriculum, in which we have a curriculum and literature that reflects the population that we serve, which is Title I school, predominantly black school in Los Angeles. One of my personal endeavors is I founded Camp Sankofa, which is a Pan-African STEAM camp. Our first summer, we focused on the Ethiopian culture, food, history, major figures, and had a lot of learning activities and games around that. The second year, we did Ethiopia and Brazil, and explain the diaspora, so kids 5 to 10 years old to gain an understanding of what the African diaspora is, and to see themselves as part of a bigger fabric of the African culture. And that's pretty much it. We've been around for about 2 or 3 years, and it's another way for students to get a chance to explore Black history outside of February.
You know, some things that are very disappointing is how much our culture doesn't know about what happened before slavery. It doesn't know about the kings and queens, doesn't know about the Ethiopians and Nubians and Egyptians and all of our rich history.
When I think of Black Gold, I think of the legacy of the Negro entertainer, most notably my mentor, Leonard Reed, who produced the final show at the Cotton Club in 1939. Now that's golden.
I am Black Gold. I'm Black Gold.
Richness. Inheritance.
I think of black mothers.
I think about the Harlem Renaissance, soul food, Malcolm X, Ossie Davis, Cicely Tyson.
When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace. And the norms and notions of what just isn't always just is. And yet, the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us.
Hold your head as high as you can, high enough to see who you are, little man. Life sometimes is cold and cruel, baby, no one else will tell you, so remember that you are black gold, black gold. You are black gold. Now maybe no one else has ever told you so, but you're golden, baby, black gold with a diamond soul. Yeah, think of all the strength you have in you, from the blood you carry within you. Ancient men, powerful men, builders of civilization. There'll be folks hell-bent on putting you down. Don't get burned, don't get burned, no. Not necessarily everyone will know your worth. Oh, think of all the strength you have in you, from the blood you carry within you. Oh, ancient men, powerful men, builders of civilization. Think of all the strength you have up in you. Oh, powerful, powerful men and builders of civilization. Hold your head as high as you can, high enough to see who you are, little man. Life sometimes is cold and cruel, no one else will tell you, so remember that you are black gold, black gold. You are black gold. You are. Da 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 da. Do 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 do.
In the future, I hope we get treated with equal respect. I hope we continue to fight for our voice. Actually, you know what? I hope the fight slows down in the future. I hope we don't have to fight as hard as we've been all these years. I hope people start recognizing the wrongs and everybody could just be in harmony and everybody just be respectful of each other.
I have high hopes. I have a black son that I am raising in the suburbs of Virginia, where we see Confederate flags and memorabilia of, leadership that have ties to racism. So I have to have high hopes for the future that this will get better for not only the world that I currently live in, but the one that my son and my daughter will.
I'm optimistic. We've come this far by faith. Remember, we are a particular kind of people with whom a sense of purpose and destiny comes out of our faith and expectation that there is going to be a brighter day. We have always been that way. We have always argued for the involvement of everybody and benefits going to everybody. It's not called white supremacy because it's part of the human condition. It's called white supremacy because white people have generally not been willing in a majority to live up to the principles of this country. We pray that God will provide some opportunities for them to find their purpose in life and not fear us.
And if you feel like I do, with the love that is moving all through this plaza, all over this world, you know that fear has no place. I love that our young people, Miss Natalie, Miss Gabrielle, I love what you're doing. Yes, yes. I want to acknowledge you. I want to say that I see the God in you who dared to step up and step out. Yes. That's all that God was ever looking for. Someone to say, here I am, Lord, send me. Come on. I will be the one to gather the people. I will be the one to shout Black Lives Matter. Yes. I will be the one to stand up for justice.
Generation Z, I don't know what to do. I'm so proud of them. Black Lives Matter and beyond.
It's what I've been doing my whole life, continuing to make music a part of my ministry as far as uplifting humanity and being a presence of love and of peace and of come togetherness.
I jazz myself. I sing. I'm in my music room now. I try to show love to as many people as much as possible. In my circle, outside of my circle, I try to be joy. I try to keep on a happy face. I try to give encouraging and uplifting words whenever I possibly can. I try not to be the one that's a conspiracy theorist or always thinking that something is going to go wrong instead of go right. I'm a go right kind of girl.
There's tragedy, of course, but I find joy because it's like through all this, we're still here. You know what I'm saying? We're still strong. We're still amazing. I'm proud to be a black man, you know what I'm saying? And I want to continue to grow and develop my consciousness surrounding the injustice and issues within our community.
Well, to bring myself joy, I sing, I dance, I read, I write poetry, I listen to great music, play my guitar, just a lot of things, spending time with my family is critically important, family and loved ones, critically important. So I have a lot of things to keep me busy.
I work very hard to maintain a level of joy in my soul. I believe that God is good and that God is greater than anything that's going on in the world right now. I believe that good is greater, that peace is greater, that love is greater, and that we're the bringers of that greater. We're the bringers of more love. We're the bringers of more peace. And so I'm encouraged that by every little bit of good I see being brought into expression, I see that as God showing as greater. And so I'm encouraged by that. And it doesn't take much for me to put my attention on the good I want to see more of.
What we are calling for is a change in consciousness. What we are calling for is a shift in the thinking and the feeling that informs our world. It takes a radical imagination to imagine a world that works for everyone. That's right. It takes a radical imagination to not treat life as a zero-sum game of winners and losers. And so politicians, state officials, White House, if you don't have a big enough imagination to imagine and work for a world that works for everyone, your time is up.
50 years ago, I met this woman. We were in the trenches in the civil rights movement in Chicago in the 70s. And we became great friends. And we used what we've learned from them to grow together.
One world, one people, one love. Hand in hand together, unbreakable. There is no darkness we can rise above. One world, one people, one love. Like a tulip blooming beside the rose, it doesn't compete for the soil, it just grows. Like the lion walking beside the lamb, as it was in the beginning, orchestrated by the great I am. No walls can separate us, no boundary. No, 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 no. War is not the answer, it won't bring peace.
Magnificent Agape House Band, Mitch Foreman, Rasheed Ron, and Jeremy Lawrence. We can rise above one world, one people, one love. One world, one people, That's Brenda, that's Patty. Wayne Augustine's on bass and Rayford Griffith is on the drums. This is a powerful day, isn't it? You look at these beautiful musicians and the beautiful singers. Give them some more shout-out love, please.
That was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for this powerful reminder of the power and the courage of God that resides in each and every one of us. We're so grateful for those who blazed the way, who trailblazed the way, who made our lives easier because they demonstrated what it looks like to let God be God in you. Thank you so much for everybody who had a hand in today's celebration. I know that Patty Henley produced this event, and I know she had her right hand with her, who's her son, Cam Talbert. And I know that Noriko Wright Oling had her part in it because she's our musical director. And at the end of this service, you're going to see the list of credits of those who poured their heart and souls into this experience. I know you felt it. I felt it too. Thank you for this celebration. Thank you for your words. Thank you for your gift. And thank you for this powerful reminder. We're so grateful that all of you who tapped into this service, I know you've been moved. I know you've been changed. I know you've been inspired. And so we're grateful to have you. We thank you for being here. And now it's time for one of my favorite parts of our service. It's where we give. It's where we get in the flow. Let's get in the flow right now.
All right, family. Now is the time to set the law of giving and receiving into action for yourself. Understanding Principles. You can text the word UPCHURCH to 73256 to complete your gift. You can use Cash App. Our Cash App ID is $UPCHURCHLA. You can also go to our website, upchurch.org. Choose the button Give Online. And finally, the mail still works. You can mail your gift to Understanding Principles, 600 West Queen Street, Inglewood, California, 90301. offerings. Read along with me. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love and I trust God. All right, let's add a declaration with that. I am in the flow. I give generously and I receive lavishly. My Father, Mother, God supplies all my needs. I am divinely supplied. All right, family. Thank you so much for your support. Let's have some announcements and then I'll be back to close this out.
Did you know that we're having a love experiment? I want to encourage you to get into the love experiment. It's UPCHURCH's 2021 Lenten program, and we do Lent like no other. We take each and every day of Lent and we have a spiritual study together, and we get some tools to work on throughout the day, and we want you to enroll. It's not too late. The train may be moving already, but there's a seat for you on it, and we want you to jump on board. So I want to encourage you to go and register at upchurch.org. Just look for Lent registration and go ahead and make the commitment. You won't regret it. We'll get you right caught up so that you can be running right along with us as we explore and experiment with the idea of love. More love, more love, more love in every single aspect of our lives. You want to be a part of this. Go to upchurch.org and register today. You won't regret it. God bless.
What a great Sunday we have had together. This has been so amazing. I want to say thank you to our worship team because they were such an instrumental part of putting together this Black History program. And I have to say thank you, Patty Hindley. Thank you. You know I believe in your talent so much, and I just see you performing and just delivering content on a worldwide stage. And I'm so grateful that you are a part of us and we are a part of you. And I always remind people that when you see someone in this community doing well, know that it's a representation of what is possible for you, because birds of a feather flock together. And so the greatness that was demonstrated today is true of you, whoever you are. Even if you are not someone of African descent, it doesn't matter. If you are in this circle of greatness, that greatness is in you, even if it may be lying dormant. And so we're just gonna keep on worshiping a little louder, a little more excitement, because we know that your potential is infinite. So thank you, Patty Henley. Thank you everyone for being here today. Oh, I'm so full. I'm gonna be buzzing on this goodness all week long. I bless you to have an amazing week. I bless you to remember who you are. I bless you to be God in action. Let's take our prayer of protection, and then I will see you at a very special edition of the after party. Would you pray with me and read along? The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And so it is. All right. I'll see you in a few minutes at our special after party.